Something that never fails to impress me in this one is the excellent attention to detail when it comes to internal set designs. Only thing that rivals it is a Rubicon, really.
次はこれをつけるように。
Tokiyuma Tosaka from Fate.
新館長、何ですかこれ。
Karsten Crutch from ReZero. She's the badass lady with the green hair who throws those sick-ass blade attacks at the white whale. Always been a fan of her as she nailed that role. Good example really of the frankly insane amount of different facial reactions she pulls over these 2 seasons.
本をこよなく愛していて、子供用の絵本まで作り出した。
It can be very confusing for anime onlys when they start off episode 1 with knowledge from the end of the season, but this one does it well. Not too much, too little, no spoilers really, it's well done.
死ぬ間際、私は祈った神様、生まれ変わっても本がたくさん読めますように。
As with the previous win, isekai intros can be too simple, too convoluted. I feel like this nestles itself nicely between those 2 contrasts, just enough to set the tone, introduce the character, and set up the story. Easy OP win for a very pretty OP. The visuals are nice, you get a chunk from the story, a bunch of artistic flair mixed in, and a decent enough song to boot. Very pleasant on the eyes and the ears.
あれ？声が遠く。あ、待って！ここ、どこ？これ、私の手？
To my mind, one of the better ways to handle the first transition from our world to theirs. I'd put it on the same level as ReZero, not quite the level of Jobless Reincarnation. That was amazingly well done. As mentioned before, great example of well done internal set designs, because they're not a well-off family. The main room in a moment is very warm and loving, like a family room, but this room is cold and kind of devoid of colours due to the lack of funds for such things, whereas later we see so much vibrant colour in the more affluent areas. See what I meant about facial reactions?
おねの働きよ今。
何？言葉がわからない。
See, I've always liked things like this. Instead of just wildly jumping into the isekai and cracking on, it's good to build the realism a bit.
お母さん、ごめん。
A nice little moment thinking about her real mother. Feels very genuine, actually. Talking about those reactions, though.
本のためだから仕方ないよね。
This moment basically summing up her entire character for at least the first half of this season.
台所か。
Hopefully you see what I mean by win number 9. This room's set design is wonderful and full of life and character, but compared to later buildings and rooms, the difference is stark when money is involved.
私の知る歴史でも、印刷機で大量生産できるようになるまで、本は非常に高価なものだった。
As someone who loves pretty much all things history, I was immediately grateful for this little drop of knowledge.
本当にここで生きていくの？
Rotating shot like it's no big deal to animate.
トイレは寝室でおまるにして捨てるわ。馴染みの薄い父さんに服を脱がされて着替えをさせられる。
Just again another dose of realism that most other isekai don't think to include into the story or writing, but this is thus very much appreciated by me.
こんなの捨てなきゃやってられないよ。
Art style change.
こんな感じでいいの？ありがとう、トゥーリー。
One of my favourite elements of anime such as this is where the character brings memories along with them of inventions and such, and this is the first example of many in this one. Creative as heck cutaways, even better because it's book related. That's one of those scenery shots that looks so good I have to show it and then talk over it. It's like Attack on Titan levels of quality, that. Not walking on the spot. Massive credit to actually animating these characters moving at such a distance. To maintain that quality as you move them through the scene is insane, to be honest. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier, except it's outdoors and not indoors, but look at how the slightly better earning areas have a much nicer looking area in which they live with more colour. Take a rare max 2 wins here. I can't tell you how rare it is to see multiple characters being animated within the same scene, and here they do it like 4 times! I see you, take those wins!
ああ、これは本じゃよ。
That reaction to seeing the first book absolutely has to get a win though, right?
お貴族様めだったら
Reaction o'clock! Just a nice by the numbers ED really, sweet and calming song, trying to send you off to sleep, and equally sleepy time visuals.
植物の実から油を取って匂い付けの薬草と塩を少し入れればシャンプーができるはず
The anime really goes all Dr. Stone up in here and I absolutely love it. Who doesn't like learning how to make stuff? I'm never gonna do it, but I like it, you feel me?
食べ物で遊ぶんじゃありません
As funny as this is, I liked it more because it shows their financial situation, that she, rightly so, gets a proper telling off for ruining a piece of fruit that either costs them or takes them time to gather.
ね会員チャンリンシャンかな
Take a win here too because I just enjoy the aftermath. Everyone in awe. She names her first product. It's pretty cool. I'm not going to fib to you. Why would I do that?
やっぱり行くのやめよう前にはまだ無理だよ一度座り込むと立ち上がれない本当に弱いなこの体
Feels like it's worthwhile pointing out this moment since it highlights how far she comes along by the end of the season. Much more physically able by then. It's like physical character development?
マイン、大丈夫か？門まで行くんだろ？俺が背負ってやるよ。
Costello Hermes from JoJo Stone Ocean. That's the lady with the dreads, by the by, and she's also Quattro from the awesome Kurona Kaseki, which is a Trails game in case you didn't know.
いい匂いがするなですって奥さん少女漫画のヒーローか
Seriously picking all the best times to change up the art style.
うふふまあトゥーリの髪は私が洗ったからね
Face stuff! Probably one of the best blushes I've ever seen in anime for how gradual it was, plus that end there.
ロインワルト伯爵が開門を望んでいます。
悪いわ。
確認済みです。
Two wins here. Firstly, Otto is Rengoku from Demon Slayer. But secondly, I must admit, such a cool way to keep us in the dark, since she's seeing everything happening as a child here, and thus is not in the middle of everything that's happening like a normal main character would be. So by doing this, they very slowly build up the story and lore of this new world in such an organic fashion. As you would expect from an anime so focused on books and writing, putting actual writing on the paper rather than just scribbles like most other anime would. How are you going to keep on doing it though? Those poor animators!
歌の解体できることなら今年も熱を出したかったよ
I gotta admit, as a vegetarian, I do feel for her here. Obviously she does eat meat, but really dislikes the process by which it's created, as it were. After the first episode's gloom of many poorer areas being presented, this makes for such a wonderful and stark contrast, and makes total sense how it lights her up like this.
君の名前。
これが私の名前文字だ
The impact is well done, really. You can see how serious she takes it, and it shows.
元須浦野もう私の名前じゃないんだよねエーファ母さんギュンター父さんトゥーリ
Quite a sad but very poignant moment to my eyes. It's like the first time she fully accepted her new self and committed to being part of her new family, saying goodbye to her old one. Winter Senorita!
雪で閉ざされる冬は家で内職をする。冬の手仕事だ。トゥーリはカゴ作り。
These are the things that, as a lover of history, appeal to me because you just know full well that, historically, this is exactly what most people would have been doing during the winter months.
マインも遊んでないでカゴを作りなさい。トゥーリ、作り方教えてあげて。
トゥーリ次は繊維に沿って切って。
Feels like she was so lucky to be settled into such a caring and loving family, where even her older sister doesn't mind having to take care of her since she's always sick. It's very wholesome. There are often scenery shots in this one that easily go up against the greats, like Jobless Reincarnation, I swear.
パルーが取れるのは朝からお昼までなんだよ。日が差し始めるとぐんぐん伸びて。
Just straight up dropping some dirty lore out of nowhere like it's easy to come up with. Awesome example of how the anime's music totally doesn't steal the spotlight, just lovingly highlights and suits the scenes perfectly.
うち男ばっかだから食べ物がもう足りなくなってきててさ。
As mentioned a couple times already, this realism is very much appreciated by yours truly.
ブツブツが出てきたらひっくり返すの。
せーの。
Be real with me, anyone else enjoy these kinds of things randomly? It's like Dr. Stone, every time he shows off an invention, I'm over here near clapping and smiling like an idiot or something.
せっかくトゥーリが手を真っ赤にして取ってきてくれたから、こうすれば残さず全部食べられるでしょ。ありがとう、マイ。
Lovely showcase to her thoughtful and wholesome side that she noticed her sister working hard, hands all red from doing the work, and thought up an idea to make her life easier and nicer.
そんなにオットーが好きなのか？
That reaction never fails to get me.
糸を編むための細いかぎ針作ってほしいの。
やってみよう。
父さん素敵。
Ridiculously adorable.
できたよ。ありがとう、マイ。すごく嬉しい。
Super wholesome.
兵士見習いに銃を教えるついでにお前にも銃を教えるそうだ。門でオットーに銃を教えてもらうといい。しばらく門に通ってみんなに遅れずに歩けるようになったら森に行ってもいい。
私頑張るよ。
I always thought her being a weak child was integrated so well to the story as far as pacing goes, because it allows her time to learn to read and write before getting physically stronger, or alongside that, it then nicely flowed into her starting to create things to do with books and other inventions and work and so on. Also take another here for how good they are as parents to her, taking into consideration everything about her and understanding that recommending her for the same line of work isn't right.
1日行って3日休んでいたのが3日行って1日休みになり。
Normally I dislike exposition, but in all honesty, unless you've got hours upon hours to flesh out your story, this is then a good way to do it, and it's tough to physically show her getting stronger.
諦めるもんか。
Another very likable element to her character is definitely her perseverance too.
その代わり何がしたいのかちゃんと言え。俺のことを信じろ。
ありがとう。
じゃあ俺薪拾いに戻るよ。
本当にありがとう、ルッツ。
ああ。
Definitely take a win here for the start of such a likable friendship between them. He grows into something else entirely due to her influence, and again it's paced out so well.
おい、こいつなんか変だよ。
The start of a super interesting turn of events that, even though it's only been a little while, I genuinely completely forgot about.
泣いてる暇があったらもう一度作り直そうぜ。
Even with so much perseverance, everyone has their limits and breaking points, and that's where he enters and really shines in this story.
旅商人になって自分の目でいろいろ見てみたいんだ。
旅もいいよね。ルッツだってやればいいじゃない。
This is what I mean when I say the pacing is great. They don't fill him with dialogue about how he wouldn't be able to follow his dreams because of his parents and so on. He just gives that sorrow-filled sigh.
マインになったことを受け入れられなかった私には母さんの愛情が苦しかった。
Even though it's very brief, love the realism. Naturally, if you woke up in another world, likely wouldn't immediately be cool with it, so it makes total sense. Oh, how do they do that? It's so damn good! Most studios are 100% using CGI for that moment. Normally I'd include this as part of the last win, but nah man, that's dedication to the art. Like I said, no CGI, loads of hand-done animation, looks amazing.
貴族の紹介状を持った商人さんが来ています。下級貴族用の待合室で待ってもらっているので至急対応お願いします。
This level of complexity is definitely not something you often see in isekai. Highly impressed by the level of lore involved in that. Higher nobles, merchants needing stamps to enter, lesser nobles and such.
よくできたな。さすが俺の助手。
俺の娘だ。
父さん、
I always find this hilarious.
これだけじゃなくて髪飾りも今日は嬉しかったよ。うちのトゥーリマジ天使。うちの方は絶対完成しない運命にあるんだ。
When you take it at face value, it seems a small thing. However, when you consider the trials she's gone through and the setbacks she's faced time and again, it feels far more real of a reaction. Shockingly, I managed to also forget about the stunning works of art at the end of each episode. Take 2 max wins for all of them. This is stuff that should be up in art galleries.
まずは挨拶からね。
うわ、
Toots adorbs!
俺の助手をしてくれているマインちゃん。
まだ洗礼式前の子供が助手か。おお、これはご丁寧に。ベンノと言います。
Olivert from Trails, and of course Dio from JoJo, and seemingly thousands of other anime. Dude's a legend, basically.
すごいな。なあ、ジョーちゃん。この紙、一体何をするとこうなるんだ。
And thus the start of one of the best parts of the anime for me, the whole trading angle and his role in it, how enthralled he is by her innovations and such.
マインが洗ってくれたから。
そうか。
残念でした。
I love that little as he was hoping he may be able to get the recipe from the boy if not her.
だからだいたい同じルートを親から子に受け継いで、それは大切なものだから他人に教えることはない。
To be frank, a bloody obscene amount of lore being dropped here that I really hope later seasons cover. It details citizenship and how it works, travelling trade and how that works. It's great.
私の髪ルッツが作る？
俺にだってやりたいことはある。マインが考えたものは全部俺が作るんだ。
Would have to be a fool to miss that one out. Such a lovely moment. Shows her caring for him and his future in return for his own caring towards her, and is backed by beautiful music and visuals.
やったねルッツ。一緒に頑張ろうね。
Feels like a win should be dropped at the start of this path as well. It's very important to them as characters and also the main story after all.
だって紙を作るんだよ。紙が作れたら本も作れるんだよ。
Yahoo!
紙ができるまでは原料になるまでと紙すきの2段階。
The anime really going all Dr. Stone once again and giving us viewers the option to jump through a lot of hoops and make our own paper.
着いた。
ここ？
Pretty much what I mentioned near the start. Look at the vibrant colours. Even the streets looked different. They do that difference justice in the story.
ここの3階だ。
こんな皇帝に住むお嬢様とよく結婚を許してもらえたね。
いらっしゃい。よく来てくれたわね。私はコリンナ。オットーの妻です。
Kawaii! This shot also does an amazing job of showing the contrast between her family home and this one.
どうおっと
I mean, you knew it was getting a win, didn't you?
もしかして見食いかもしれんな。え？見食いならもうじき死ぬ。
To be honest, I also forgot about this, but what a way to do a cliffhanger too!
すげえ。
同じ町なのに全然違うよね。
きっとお昼ご飯も豪華なんだろうな。
Using hand-done animation to move them in the scene, move others through the scene, and little bits of CGI here and there to really create a lived-in street feel. So much attention to detail in this scene. Everything is clean and tidy, every person is dressed so much nicer, and in clothing smacking with colour, and even the street signs outside the shops are of a higher quality compared to the wooden ones we see during the first outing of the first episode.
それまでに完成した紙はうちが買い取る。原料費と手数料を引いた残りが君たちの取り分だ。
So, being real with you guys, this anime and how it approaches trade actually interests me. It's not too deep, it's just lightly sprinkled in. In contrast, I really disliked Spice and Wolf for that reason. So yeah, how this one handles it is right up my street.
給料に上乗せされても解雇されたら元も子もないでしょ。現物が手に入ったらお払い箱なんて困るんです。
保身にまで気が回るとは末恐ろしい子だ。
Mine basically being incredibly clever right here, and I love to see it almost as much as her creating a new invention.
ルッツ、大丈夫？
Non-exposition way of telling us that Lutz is feeling left behind in the knowledge department, likely confused, given that they're the same age. It's displayed on his face and not outright spoken about. Love the way they did this, such a clever use of CGI, and the thumbprint legit looks like an actual one too.
まあいいんだよな。変なこと言った。難しいこと話す前にちょっとびっくりしたんだ。
It's not brought up often, but take a win for bringing it up at all. Although I'd presume many would argue that due to her having Mind's knowledge and memories, it's fairly easy for her to be her.
ルッツ。
Not walking on the spot too, plus mixing it with a nice bit of first personness.
もし私がマインじゃないと分かったら、その時は熱に食べられて。
The way the fever is used throughout, so clever to my mind, just adds a level of additional lore to her living in this new world that most other isekai don't bother creating. Makes it very unique.
あれですね。
マインさん。
オットーから体が弱いと聞いていたが、ここまでとは思わなかったな。今後一人で店に来るのは禁止だ。必ず坊主と一緒に来い。
Using this as a great way by which to keep Lutz central to the story and close to her as a character after this event.
魔力は成長するとともに増える。だが増えすぎるといずれ魔力に食われて死ぬ。
Equally then using this to push her towards the church for the next avenue in the story, and again showing impressive levels of pacing.
聞いてるふりして言うこと聞く気ないだろ。
Her honesty there really got me after seemingly agreeing to take it easy. Having just been yelled at, and he immediately calls her out for faking agreeing with them.
ここまで細かい作業は細工師の仕事だ。細工師に頼むといい。
わかりました。
Few too many instances to show here, but have a win for the first few minutes of the episode. It's nice to see their own space, how they go about ordering the goods they need and everything else. Love how they can so effortlessly mix together the hand animation of the characters, the static background they're inside of, and then also the beautiful CGI water throwing through. Lovely mixture. Two wins here. Firstly, it's a nice plot twist. Everything is so cool, calm and collected in this anime, and then something like this happens. It's a shock. But also, just like when number 104, it's another great showcasing of CGI effectively.
ああ、大きくなりすぎると危険だから騎士団に依頼しなきゃいけなくなる。
騎士団なんてあるんだ。さすが異世界だね。
よくそんな風に持って混ぜられるよな。
器用でしょ。どんな厚さの紙になるんだよ。
やったことあるからわかるのか？
Feels like this could have so easily been on the nose. Instead, they went for the seriously subtle moments in order to make Lutz curious about how she's coming up with all of this stuff.
本物のマインはどこ行った？本物のマインを返せよ！
私が消えたら多分死体しか残らないから。
Can't believe I couldn't remember this happening either. What's going on with my leaky bathtub of a memory box?
お前が悪いんだろ！お前のせいでマインが消えたんだよな！そう言えよ！
Have one here for some truly top-class voice acting too. Those screams are most excellent.
だから私に消えてほしいなら言ってね。
なんで俺にそんなこと？
ルッツがいなかったら私はもっと前に消えてたから。ルッツの顔が見えて、ルッツとの約束を思い出して、それで意識が戻ったの。ルッツは私が消えちゃわなくていいの。本当のマインじゃないんだよ。
だから俺のマインはお前でいいよ。
Honestly, this is far more of a lovely, meaningful, and impactful scene than I remembered years back as well. It's very hard-hitting, resolves their crisis neatly, and carries a lot of emotion with it.
書けるな。羊皮紙よりも書きやすいが、少し滲むところがある。それほど気になるわけでもないが、合格だ。
やったー！よかったね、ルッツ。
This is a big moment. It's a great moment. They achieved their task. It moves the story forwards and them as characters. Boom! Take that win, you big old bag of sass!
中銅貨1枚となります。中銅貨10枚は1000リオンで、大銅貨1枚となります。
If you're gonna do this kind of thing in your anime, I can't really think of a much more forward, bright, and colourful, and in the process, appealing way of doing it.
私が考えてルッツが作る。いえ、飾りの部分は私で、木の部分がルッツです。
おう。
First of all, nice that they're on the same page here as a team and he's not all like, NANI? But secondly, and most importantly, it speaks to her character thinking of him like this. So insanely rare nowadays that a studio takes the time to actually draw out a crowd like this. You know me, I love a map, but also a nice strip of lore regarding the naming of towns after their lords. Throwing down a whole bunch of local lore and scenery shots like it's not a big deal and they're asking for a fight.
2人の仮登録の許可が下りていないせいで、せっかく作っても売ることができないのが残念だ。ああ、残念でならない。
He's such a stupidly great voice actor, I swear.
もうすぐ冬支度でしょ。その足しにしてね。
すごいわマイン。
頑張ったんだね。
It's really nice that in her world she planned on giving her first paycheck to her parents and so does that here instead.
できました。どうかしら。
Must be a pain putting so much detail into these things all the time, but they keep on doing it.
やりたいことに全力を費やしているうちは大丈夫よ。心が折れたり目標を失った時に反動が来るから気をつけて。
They made her sickness super unique and it's oddly close to what the gnomes go through in the Pathfinder games. Both excellent and clever pieces of lore.
出てくるな。見食いの熱。箱にぎゅうぎゅうに詰めて上から倒して。これでよし。
Such a good example of her overwhelming positivity most of the time. Obviously she's fallen down a few times, but my word, doesn't she keep on getting up though.
ところで簡易チャンリンシャンだが、困ったことが起きた。ある工房に作らせてるんだが、お前の言った通りに作ってるのに同じものにならないそうだ。
あ、わかった。
なんだ？
何がいけなかったんだ？
それで絞ると実の繊維や種のかけらみたいなのが油の中に混じるんです。
I included this because to me it's such a genuinely great moment too. They really didn't have to revisit this, but it's realistic that they did and put some really nice detail into it too.
賞金貨2枚賞金貨3枚
賞金貨3枚だと？
The first instance of her using her head and being much more merchant-minded. That's fun to say.
賞金貨3枚だな。出せるのはそこまでだ。受け取って貯めておけ。 お前は持っている情報を全部売ってでも金を貯めて来たるべき日に備えろ。体の中の熱が抑えられなくなる時だ。
生きていたい。わかりました。賞金貨3枚で手を打ちます。
This moment really stands out to me because, firstly, it's a time when Mind states her will to live since finding out what ails her. Secondly, I liked him in this scene. It's like he was happy to throw a lot of money her way, in a fair manner, because she'll need it, and he wants her to survive, but not just for business purposes. For some reason, this always makes me laugh. He just does it for so long that it annoys her.
柔道家2枚
One of the best things about Mine is that she actively shares the profits with her family, but doesn't just give it to them. She asks them to do less work for more money than they'd usually get.
寒っ。
ホクホクのじゃがバターが食べたいね。
Thinking about it, it's nice how all of the seasons are displayed in one way or another, either via family activities, city ones, or visually like this.
ルッツはいらないの？
食うよ。うまい。なんだこれ。
That's what I talked about before. Randomly, it makes me really smile seeing him enjoy something that's new to their world.
これでまたトロンベの髪が。
マイン、大丈夫か？
They're great when it comes to sudden out of nowhere twists. Like I said, it's such a calming anime that when it happens, it can be fairly shocking.
まだ負けないよ。本を作ってないから。
I'd be a big fat liar if I said that didn't get to me in that moment.
ベンノの旦那、マインを助けてくれ。
マインが考えたものは俺が作るなんて大層なこと言うなら次から次へと作って売れ。金を稼げ。
What I like about Dio is that even though he can come across as harsh, he's actively thinking all the time about how to save Mine and doesn't mince words about it. Recall what I said about these being a pain to draw? Yeah, look at that!
はい。紙も作らなきゃならないし。
マイン。
That's what I'm talking about! Out of nowhere, take that win!
なんとかしてくれよ、ベンノの旦那。
一度使えば壊れる魔術具が賞金貨2枚だ。
金貨？
出世払いで貸してやるぞ。
Normally these aren't enough to score a win, but it being Dio, it gets one, especially since he randomly jabs him in the eye during it. The quite frankly awesome representation of the magical item being used to sap away at the curse. The sad state of affairs on full display as she goes over everything she's had to do and her grandfather in order to keep her alive all of this time. It really paints the picture of an uphill battle.
名前なんてどうでもいい。マインが治っただけで俺は嬉しい。
It broke my heart a little that they thought she was cured completely. It's like she kept them in the dark about what was likely to happen later, maybe to ease the burden.
私もフリーダもすぐに寝てしまった。明日はフリーダの洗礼式だ。
Adorable!
マイン、寂しかっただろ？父さんは寂しかったぞ。
私、久しぶりに母さんが作ったご飯が食べたい。
Speaking of adorable, she even turns down the old man's offer of them all staying for a meal because she just wants to be alone with her family and eat her mother's cooking. It's lovely.
エーファのご飯は世界一だからな。
父さんの母さん自慢。いつの間にか私の鬱になっていたんだなってこと。
Honestly, that brought a little tear to my eye seeing them all together like this as a family.
ルッツにはいつも助けられてるなって思ったの。
そっか。
Goodness me if this episode isn't wholesome as hell!
大きくなったな、マイン。
父さん。
Totes adorbs!
今まで黙っていたのも、それを聞かれたくなかったからだろう。
なんでわかっちゃうの？
わかるのは俺が父親だからだ。
父さん、母さん、トゥーリー、私、ここで家族と一緒にいていい？
In an anime without sword fighting and crazy animation from battles and such, they can have 2 max wins for the amount of truly wholesome and lovely moments in this episode. Have a final win here for a lovely episode 11.
初めてにしては上出来だ。
はい。
ルッツがな。
Haven't done a face win in a while. Hasn't been a new face in a while. Take a face win to your face.
ギルベルタ商会のベンノです。
ああ、あなたが。
Yeah, Otto just casually laughing away in the background.
コリンナが結婚して養う家族がいなくなった時には、嫁にしたかった女は死んで、もういなかった。あいつ以上の女がいないから結婚しない。
An unexpectedly sad moment all of a sudden from him. Even worse, that the woman he loved actually ended up dying. I'd also forgotten about that.
なんだ急に。
なんとなく。
She's too pure for this world. Few too many moments to risk showing it all, but definitely a strong win here for this melancholy and yet strangely uplifting scene where she accepts her demise. Now we can finish the contrast between the 3 major areas in this city, where Mine and her family live, where Benno and his family live, and now where the Churchies people live, vastly different looks each. This just smacks of 100% pure lore ready to be dished out. It's not healthy for you, but my oh my doesn't it taste good. They really didn't have to put so much detail into that cover, but they did it anyway.
孤独だった闇の神が光の女神と出会い
By far the most beautiful art style change in the entire anime to date.
神に祈りを。
グリコ、なんでグリコ
That hard suppressed laugh is easily the funniest moment so far.
マインなんでそんなになるまで黙ってたんだ大丈夫か
違う。平気。
He's just jumping whilst he says it.
本がこんなに。チェインドライブラリーも。
Her seeing the first library in this new world and her genuine reaction to it.
図書室だ。神に祈りを。神に感謝を。
And then who can skip this additional hilarious reaction to it?
神殿の見込み習い。
ふざけるな。俺は自分の娘を神殿になど入れはしない。見込み習いは神殿に住み込みできつい仕事をすることになる。体調管理もできないマインになれるものじゃない。分かってくれてよかった。お前は俺の大事な娘だ。神殿なんかにはやらん。
Very happy that they justified his actions. Yes, she didn't know, but he really wanted to put across strongly that he did not want his daughter disappearing from his life, and of course with his comment about how they're worked to the bone. It's also not a selfish anger, he'd be insanely worried about her ailing health too.
みんなと別れてまで巫女になりたいわけじゃない。よかった。
The best thing about this is that it clearly means that, in spite of spending so long trying to find books, that she now has a firm #1 commitment in this new world. Her family, and it says a lot about her. Closest thing we're going to get to another scenery shot.
君がマインか。
はい。
私は新館長だ。
Also, just like a previous win, have another for the third and final look at how the third group of people live, that being those of the church, except this time the win is for interior shots.
神殿長から話は聞いている。さあ、こちらへ。
They so easily could have zoomed in on her face whilst he spoke, or on his to cut the animation work, but nope, they animated him through the scene instead.
何これ
My leaky brain box has failed me again! How doth one's forgetteth, soeth mucheth! Not running on the spot!
何年か前、中央の政変で大規模な粛清が行われ、貴族の数が激減したそうだ。
I don't even know why, but that just looks stupidly good to me. Wow!
神殿に入ったら搾取されるだけでなく、中で利用し合える相手を探せ。
我が子のようにとまでは申しませんが、マインのことを親身になって心配しているのです。 もちろんこのマルクも。
Take a fat win for this entire scene because it's pure bliss seeing him and Lutz giving her the best ideas ever in order to protect herself. Even if it might mean danger for them, they're standing by her.
マインは俺と本屋さんをやるって言ったのに、俺マインと本を作りたかった。マインと一緒にもっと。ああ、マインが考えたものは俺が作ってやるよ。
Scenes with Lutz being like this never seem to fail to strike my heart and make me sad.
この3つが通れば勝利と言っていいと思う。
やってみよう。
Might not be the highest stakes in the world, but the way they lay the scene out makes it feel like it is.
何かあったら私
Wonderful and realistic moment as she's filled with fear at the notion of losing her parents for them daring to go up against nobles.
父さん、私を守ってね。
任せておけ。
That!
おとなしく娘を差し出せ。
こんなのが貴族なの？
この無礼な両親を捕らえてマインを奥へ閉じ込めろ。
命を投げ出す覚悟はできている。
マインを捕らえろ。
Her dad really is the best in this! A proper father! Putting a surprising amount of frames and detail into these attacks.
私の父さんと母さんに触らないで。
殺してはならない。
Mind going all Jedi mind trick on him. In fact, it's so badass how she pulls it out of nowhere, uses it so effectively against her foe, and how it changes her voice. Also, the animation and CGI makes that it can have 2 max wins.
大丈夫か?
Also, take one here for the author not turning the parents into scared wimps after seeing what they saw. I feel like a Western writer might have done that. You see that all the time.
これは私に与えられた罰だ。怒らせる神殿長を黙って見ていたのだから当然のことだ。
We needed this moment because without it, it'd be a kind of awkward second season with him being so central a character and yet seemingly so cruel for sitting there silently through that ordeal. Take a win here, describing all of the strange things they've put up with in regards to mine and her comment about them being such loving parents to just look past everything. I actually have one here as well. It just made me think, seeing them walk out, how utterly destroyed Thule would have been if things had gone differently and they'd never returned home. Woo! As you can likely gather from the last win, totally forgot this happened. That was lovely. That's going to do it for this one, ladies and gents. Don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment if you enjoyed yourself, and ensure you're subscribed to not miss Season 2. See you soon. Creator follower, Lefty, Corey Bush, Unacamian Water, Manuel Morales, Marquez, Nick Wyndham, Warkeeper, The Epic Commander, Eagleist, Bird Without a Word, Brendan Creer, Christopher Willis, Emmanuel Gonzalez, Gaten 2000, Jessica Starks, Kepman, Cumfreak, Kylie W, Magnus, Nathan Burr, Satai Kuyore, Sean, Sebastian Ramirez, Wigan Faye, Ali 50, Baked Patats 3827, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Dub Defender Matt Mallow, Guru, Israel Caldera, Yor Edfinson, Jonas Stahl, Jaffa 6263, Kieran Robinson, Kelnok, Kevin Nelter, Conito, Laxus, Luis Cruz, Matthew Blansett, Nicholas C, 1928, Oliver Smiley Reacts, Peter Milligan, Saintfo 25, Sentimento, Storm 970, The Elementator Wars.